So hello guys, welcome to JavaisAwesome, and in this video we can talk about form data or form based applications. So by using the Spring MVC we can develop a form based applications. Form based are used to collect data from the end users. For example, login forms, register forms, search forms and any report form etc. So like that forms we are developing to collect the data from the end users, and we can develop these forms using the help of the Spring Boot MVC. That is called a form data or form based applications. Okay, so in this videos we are going to understand how we can develop form based application, how we can take the data from the end users and we can store into the DB, or maybe we can show them to another page. Okay, so this is our requirement in this videos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to develop some applications in that videos and I will show you. Okay, so a Spring Boot MVC supports form binding object. Okay, a Spring Boot MVC support form binding object. This is the one important point which we have to understand, like how form binding will happen. For example, we have a login forms, and what are the end user will enter those data, how we can receive those data into the controller methods. That is called a form binding. We can understood those things also. From form binding object means from form binding object means form data can be captured. Form data can be captured where? Captured in object directly, and object data can be populated, and object data can be populated where? In the form directly, So whatever the data they are receiving, it will populate directly in the forms, and whatever the data end user enters, those are can directly captured into the controller methods directly. No need to do any conversion. So that is called a form data binding. Okay, that is very important concept in the Spring Boot MVC. Okay, so for example, we have a one login form. Okay, and we are going to receive those data in our application. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to establish the relation between our form field and Java class variables for data binding. Then only we can do the proper binding and we can receive those data. Okay, so I'm going to create one application and I will show you each and everything. Okay, so let's go to our Spring Boot MVC. Okay, and I'm going to create one project which is new, a Spring Starter project. Okay, and I will give the name called project number 3. So it's 4, and form binding. And we need Spring Web, Lombok, DevTools. Okay, next, finish it. Okay, so let's show you. For example, we have one applications. Okay, in the applications we have a login form. Okay, in the login forms we are taking from the user ID and username or maybe password. These two fields we are taking, okay, and we have a one submit button. We have a one submit button. So let's mark it. So this is the login forms. Okay, this is the login forms, and this is the submit buttons, and this is our applications. Okay, so this is nothing but this is the login forms, and once user is enter those details into the forms, user ID and password, we have to validate in the background, we have to receive this data, and then after we have to proceed further, and in the another page we have to display those data. Okay, how we can display? So user ID is this one and password is this one, like that. So in the other forms you have login successfully, using user ID, those data, and password, those data. We can display simply. So this message we have to print into the success page, or maybe you can say this is the response page. Okay, so this is nothing but success page, success.jsp, and this is nothing but login.jsp page. Okay, this is our requirements and we have to develop. So end user will enter the user ID and password, he will hit the submit button, those data will go to the another forms which is success.jsp. In the success.jsp we have to show like you have login successfully using user ID this one and password is this one. Okay, let's start development now. Okay, how we can develop it? So how we can develop it, each and everything we can understood one by one. Okay, and then after we can see some other requirement also. Okay, so what we can do is, this is the project, it's ready. We need something called Jasper to display in the JSP page. So we can collect those Jasper dependency and we can come back to our project .xml, and in the dependency tags we can put it. Okay, that's it. Our project is ready. Okay, our project is ready to develop now. What we have to do, we have to create some web folders in the main. So we can say folder web app, and inside the web app why it's creating here, and folder, not source folder, I have to click on that one, and folder name is called web app, and in top of that one more folder I have to create, maybe the page or views page, and in the views page I need two pages, which is JSP page. One is login and one is success.jsp. This is the two pages I required personally. Okay, for mapping for that resolutions resolver, view resolvers, we can specify those configurations in properties files. like what is the view suffix. So let's write view, and view prefix is nothing but slash views slash, and suffix is nothing but dot JSP. So this is the configurations which we have done, and then after this is the views folder. So that's why I've given the prefix is VIEWS views, and this is the global folder web. So no need to give further. Okay, now I'm going to develop our controllers. So I'm going to develop my controllers, login controllers, and inside this controller, first thing is we have to annotate this class at the rate controllers, and inside this, for loading a login page, this is the page I have, login form. So loading this page, I have to write one method which is called login. Okay, so I will go to the controllers and I will write public string login page, and I will return here also login page. Okay, and I will map this with the get mapping, and I am not going to pass anything. It will by default it will load this page, just slash. So by default it will load this page whenever you run your applications. And here I'm going to receive those data which not going to receive, just we are loading this page which is login page. I'm not sending also any data. So this is for the login page, loading a page. Second one is handle the submit button. So public string handle submit login form. Okay, and from here we have to return success page. This one I'm going to map with the post mapping, and I will write, hey, this is nothing but login URL. Okay, and I'm going to receive those data which is after submitting the form. So once user will hit this particular button which is submit, I want to receive this two value in my controllers, and I have to send to the success page. Okay, so how we can receive the value? So let's go with the servlet. So in the servlet, how we are receiving it? With the help of the HTTP servlet request. So I'm going to write HTTP servlet request, and this is the request. Okay, with the help of HTTP servlet request, I will handle those data, and with the help of the models, I will send those data to the success page. How? So model dot add attribute, and here I will say username. So first I want to read those data. Okay, so for reading those data from the request params, I have to write request dot get parameters, and I will pass here the input field name which is user ID. Okay, and request dot get parameter password. Okay, this is the two fields we want to read. This is called user ID, and this is called password. So these two fields we will read, which is nothing but user ID and password. So modal dot add attribute password equal to password. So this is reading the data from HTTP request. So we can receive whatever the data they will send into the HTTP servlet request, and from the HTTP servlet request we can read user ID, you can read password, and those we can store in these variables, and then after we can set those data into the models user ID and password, and we can send to the success page. Okay, so first let us design the login page. Okay, so go to the login page. Here what I will do is I will design the login page. So here I will write h1 login page, and then after I will create one table. Okay, table, and inside the tables we can write tr. Okay, and in the tr we can write multiple td for representing data. Okay, td is nothing but user id. Okay, and this is nothing but password. Okay, and copy this one, put it here. So in the user ID we have to create one input field, correct? Input field. In that input field we have to take type equal to text, and name is nothing but user ID. User ID. In the same way we have to take this one as a password, and this one is a input field. Input type equal to text, and the name equal to password. This is the closing. Then after we need one more submit button, so we can write one more tr, and in the tr we can write one td, or maybe directly also we can put it, which is input, or maybe button, no. So this is one more tr. Inside this just type td, and inside this td take button, button is nothing but submit, and type is nothing but submit. That's it. Our form is ready, and this is the user ID and this is the password. With the same name we are going to receive those data in our controller also, with the user ID and password. Once we receive it, we can send to the success page, and what we can do is in the success page we can display those data. How? So let's see. So what are the response we have to display? You have logged in successfully. So h1, you have logged in successfully. You have logged in successfully using credentials, using credential, user ID, user ID, dollar user ID, dollar user ID, remove the space, and in the same way we have one more h2 and password. Password. This is the two fields we have written after the login success page. So what I'm going to do is, first we are going to load the page. Okay, so just run your applications, right click, run as a Spring Boot application. So by default it will run 8080. Go to the browsers and say localhost 8080. So go to the browsers, localhost 8080. We are able to receive the forms. Okay, once you receive the forms, what I'm going to do is I'm going to inspect these forms. So right now we are in inspect mode. Okay, go to the network tab. So this is the network tab. Right now we are not able to see anything. Remove all those things. Okay, here I am going to write user ID, which is Prince Kumar, and password is 12345 Just try to submit it. Just try to submit it. Not submitting, because whatever the forms we have developed. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this table into one form tag. Okay, so let me copy it, make it form, and inside the forms I'm going to put those tables. Format it. Done. What the actions? So actions we have into the success page. Let's go to the UI side. Let's try to submit the forms. So once I click on the submit, so first let me load these forms. Okay, and then after write Prince Kumar is user ID and password is 12345. Let's try to submit it. Once I submit it, you can see here it's saying login, and it's sending the form data, which is user ID as a Prince Kumar and password is nothing but 12345. In the payload you can see, and this is the URL. This is the URL http://localhost 8080/login post mapping 200, and this is the URL, this is the preview, and this is the response. Okay, in the response we are getting one page. Page is nothing but this data. So if you see here in the success page, we have written you have logged in successfully, your credential is user ID Prince Kumar, password is 12345. Okay, so we are able to develop and we are able to capture those data, okay, with the help of what? Servlet request. Those things we can do with the help of binding also, object binding also. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one class called, what is the class name? So let me create it first. So first I will create one class, or maybe model class. So dot model, and here I will write login request. This is the login request forms. In that I am going to mention my attribute private string user ID. Okay, private string password. password. For that I want setter getter, so what I will do is I will write at the rate Lombok. I will take the help of the Lombok, which is data annotations. With the help of the data annotations, we can easily generate all those getters, setters, and to a string constructor. All those are generated here if you see in the outline. Get user ID, set password, set user ID, set password equals method that goes to a string and constructor also. Okay, fine. Now what I'm going to do is I will save it, and login request class I'm going to map here in my controllers. Now I'm not going to receive the data with the help of HTTP servlet request. Now I'm going to request that handle the data with the login request class. Okay, and with the help of the login request class, now I don't want this line also, so I will comment it, and from the login request I will read the data. Okay, and I don't want to send like that data also, user ID, so I will comment this line also. I don't want this line also. Okay, and this object itself I will send to our success page. So what I will write? I will write model dot add attribute. Okay, and here is the key, which is login. I will write and here I will pass my login request data or request. So this is the key. Request is a request, and request is a object also here. Login request is a object. We are sending to the success page. Go to the success page, and here how we can read the data? We can read the data with the help of a request dot user ID. Okay, and request dot password. Okay, and we can read those data, and we can display also on the controllers. Okay, so directly now we are going to receive the data with the help of the request, and make sure what are the login request field we have, in the same field we have in this page, user ID and password, then only it will work. Go to the back, refresh your page, and put your data, maybe Ajit Kumar, Ajit 12345, and password is something called 12345. Submit it. You have login successfully. Your credential is this one, Ajit 1232345. Okay, so I hope you understood how we are directly receiving the data and we are submitting it, and how we are using it also. Okay, let me go with some other examples, and I will show you one more things. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one more controllers. Okay, so we have received this requirement. We have completed this requirement. The new requirement is to work with the Spring Boot MVC. They have provided the form library. What they have provided? Which is form library. With the help of that also we can do all those operations. Okay, all those operations we can do very easily. Okay, so form tag library is also important part, but we can discuss later. As of now, go and establish one more application, one more requirement we have, which is nothing but, let me design here. For example, you have one page which is called add book details. Add book details, or maybe book details. Okay, or add book details. This is the page we have, details, details, add book details. This is the page we have. In that page we are going to take from the user book ID. book ID. We are going to take book name. We are going to take book price from the users, and he will provide one more submit button. Submit button. So let's design it quickly. So this is the forms. We are going to take details in that. Okay, and this is the submit buttons we have. So this is our requirement. Once you enter the form details and it will submit, it will click on the submit, we have to display the data into the key value pairs. Okay, for example, this is the response we have to display, and in the display what we have to do, we have to print in the table format. Book ID is this one, maybe Java, not Java 101. Book name something called Java. Book price something called $300. Okay, and we have to keep one more button, which is here. We can keep one more buttons here, which is add more book. Add book. So once you click on that, he will go back to add more book. Okay, this is the requirement. So this is the output we have to display into the another page. How we can do it? How we can achieve those requirements? Simple. Just develop one applications. Okay, with the Spring Boot as starter, and we can say this application is 5. Maintain book management, book app, web, dev tools, next, finish it. We need Lombok also, so we can add Lombok also. Go to the right click on the project, go to down, click on Spring, add starters. Here you can go, and then after go to the Lombok, add it, next, move it to here, and finish it. So if you see here, Lombok is also added. Okay, one more things, we need Jasper, so we can take Jasper also. So many things we are going to copy paste from the previous project. Okay, I am going to develop this quickly so that we can understood in the better way. The Lombok here. Let me open the pom.xmls, and in the pom.xmls I have added the Lombok, and also I need a Jasper, so I have added the Jasper also. So this is the Lombok dependency which I have added. It will work. Okay, and then after, what dependency we have? So we have a starter, and then after we have a starter test, dev tools, and a starter web. We need one more dependency called Jasper, Tomcat Jasper. So I will take from the previous project, go to pom.xml, and I have already collected from the Maven repository. So I will just copy it, this dependency and come back to your project, which is previous 5.1, and go to the dependency sections or anywhere you can put it. So in the dependency section, paste your Jasper and just format it and save it. Okay, it will download the automatically those Jasper dependency, and then after we can good to go. Okay, so what we are going to do is basically, let me open, which is book details. So if I show you this project we are going to develop, which is book details project. Add book details, so we can take from the user's book ID, book name, book price, and once user click on submit, we can send those data to the here in another page, which is success page. Okay, so let's try to do it. So what we are going to do is, so I am going to develop some controllers first. Okay, so this is my 4th project, this is my 5th project, so I'm going to develop some controllers here. So let's develop it. So let's create one controllers. So let's create one class called book controller, book controllers, and inside this book controllers, what I'm going to do is, I will mention this class as the red controller class. Okay, and then after we are going to create two methods inside this. One is for load the forms, which is book form. So I will create public string and get books form. Okay, or add books forms, anything, and this is going to returns book forms. Okay. It's going to return what? Book forms. Book forms. So here we can add the books. Correct? Let mention this get mapping, and here we can pass, what we can pass it, we can pass the book. So let's say book, or otherwise it's a loading page, so just leave it with slash, so it will automatically load this book forms. Okay, once it is load the book forms, we are going to take one more method called handle submit book form. So public string handle submit book forms. This is the one more methods, and this method is going to return one show book. This is the show book page. Okay, this is the two methods only. This method is nothing but we are going to mention as a post mapping, and here also we can show those book slash book. We are going to submit those on the book. Okay, how we can receive the data? So for receiving the data, we can take book object. Okay, so for that I need book. So what I will do is, I will create one class and I will change the package name dot model, and I will give book, and inside the book what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take some field called it's like an entity field. So I will write here private int id, which is nothing but book id, private string name, which is nothing but book name, private then after book price or author you can write. So let's say string author. Okay, and then after private string, not a string, double, double price. So this is the details we have. I am going to create setter getter for that. So let's take the help of lombok @data. So it will automatically generate all those setter and getter methods. Okay. Next, what I am going to do is I am going to take all those field ID, name, author and price from the UI side. Okay. So how we can take those data from the UI sites? So for taking those data from the UI side, we can do something like mapping or data binding. Then with the help of that, we can take all those data and we can receive and we can do the further operations. Okay. So I hope you understood what I'm going to do in this with the help of this class. Okay. This is the controllers, but there is no separate package for the controllers. So I will write controller. Let's modify this, move to the book controllers, and this is the model class which is saved. Okay. And what next we need? So we are going to read those data, book data from the UI whenever user will click on the submit. So I will write here book. Okay. com.f.models, it will come book, and I want to send this to the our show book page. So I will create one models, and model will carry those data to send to the show book page. So I will add those data model dot add attribute. Okay, and with the help of the key value pairs, I will display those data on the show book page, which is nothing but book. This is the simple method I have written. Okay, what next we have to do? We have to develop these forms, books forms and show book. But before going to develop, we have to do some configurations. So this is the project name. I don't want to change the port number. It's by default 8080. Just change the view prefix. Okay, so view I will give like spring.mbc.view prefix is slash views slash, and view suffix is nothing but just .gsp we are going to use. Okay, let's create this folder. So we are going to the src main, and inside the main we have to create one folder which is web app. This is the global folders, and inside the web app we can create one more folder which is called views folders, which we have configured here. And inside the views folders we can create these two JSP forms. One is book forms. So right click on views, go to the search JSP, and then after you can write here books forms .jsp, and one more page I want, which is show books. So what I will do, I will go to the views, right click, JSP files, give the name, generate it. So this two file is generated here. If you see book forms. Okay, now I have to write book forms. So books forms will display one form which is look like this: add book details, book ID, book name, book price, and submit buttons. Once I hit the submit, we can redirect to this page, book ID, and here we can see all those details, and again we can click on the add book, we can come back to this particular page, and again we can do the operations. Okay, so let's try to develop it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write one let's suppose one h1 tag, and in the h1 tag I will write book details form, and inside the book details I will create one table. This is the table. Inside the tables I will create one form. form, and this form having one actions and having one methods. So method we can take post. We are going to submit these forms, and we are going to submit these forms on book, which is this controller's endpoint. Okay, and by default it will load with slash. Clear? So this is the forms, and inside the forms we can write lots of the TRTD, or maybe you can generate this table inside the forms. That is also fine. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want any extra space. Okay, this is the forms. Inside the forms we are going to generate one tables, and inside the tables we are having a multiple TR. Okay, multiple TR. Okay, one TR will contains what? Multiple TD. So in the TD I will write, this is the book ID. Book ID. I will take next one TD, and this one will take one input form. So I will write input, and this is the input form. So I will give type. Type is text, and name is nothing but name. Name is nothing but just we can give ID. Okay, whatever the names you have given in this book class, which is ID, name, author, price, same name you have to give here also, so that we can do the proper binding. Okay, copy this TR. Okay, paste it here, paste it here. Let me maximize it so it will look good to you. Let me format also. And here what I'm going to do is, this is book name. So I will write book name. This is book author. What is this one? Book price. And at the end what we have, which is one input field. Okay, so we can write TD, and inside the TD we can write one buttons, and in the button we can write submit. This is the submit button, and let's give the type called submit. Type equal to submit. Net. Now we have to design. This is the book name, so input text and name, not ID. Name is what? Name. Book author, ID, not ID, author. Okay, this is the price. So this is price. We are going to take from the users, and if you see, all those data we are entering as a string, but by default it will convert into this format: ID, string doubles, because of the data binding which is supporting by the Spring Boot MVC. Okay, so binding is happen. Okay, let's load the forms and see how it's loading. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just run this applications, run as a Spring Boot app, and we are running in the default port numbers, which is 8080. Okay, let's go to the browsers. Localhost 8080. Once you hit the enters, it's loading the page book details form, which is taking ID, which is taking name, which is taking author and price, and we have a submit button also. Once you click on the submit, we have to redirect to the another page, which is nothing but So book we have not designed as of now. So what I will do is, based on our requirement, we have to display like that: book ID, book name, book price, and add book. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do the copy paste of these tables. So just copy paste it. So I will copy it and I will go to the show book. Okay, and in the show book we can paste all those things. Let's format it. And here book ID, book name, how we can display. So here we don't need any input field. We have to just display the book. Okay, we just have to display the book, so no need any input field here. So we can remove those input field. Okay, here also, then after here also, then after we don't want any submit buttons, we want one anchor tag. So we can write a, and in the anchor tag we can say add button, add book, and we can give the name called href, and in the href we can provide which page. So our slash page, so it will go to the add book. Okay, in this page, add book details, add book details form, and this is the show book. So here what we are sending in the models, in the model we are sending this book object with the key book. So copy this key and go to the show book, and here we can display all those books with the help of the key value ID. So write dollars, and then after we can write book dot ID. In the same way, go here, dollar book dot name. Here also same thing, dollar book dot author. Here also same thing, we have to display the price. So dollars book dot price. So it will display all those data into the table format, and we can see one button also, which is add book. Okay, so I hope design is completed. Let's go and refresh this page once. Okay, once you refresh, you can see add book details form. Here I am going to give book ID is 101, book name is Java programming, and book author is nothing but Ajit Dubey, and price is nothing but 300. Okay, and let's try to submit this book. Once I submit this book, you can see those book details here. Book ID is 101, book name is Java programming, book author is Ajit Dubey, and book price is 300. If you click on add book, it will automatically go to that page, and again you can add another book 102. Okay, and Python, and then after something called Ritesh, and price is 400. Let's try to submit it. You can see the another book is added. Okay, in the later, so what we can do is we can collect those books and we can set into the database. Right now we are not setting into the database, we are just displaying in the UI page. So we can set all those details into a database, and then we can show this page, and we can do all those card operations, and I will show you. Okay, so I hope you understood how it's working with JSP, and how we are designing our forms, how we are displaying our data, each and everything. This one is very important, form actions. So form action is what? book, and what is the method, which is post, which is mentioned here. Post mapping, action is book, we are sending a book object, automatically binding is happening here. What I am sending from the UI side, which is book ID is integer type, book price is double type, but automatically binding is happen with the book object. If you see the book object, what is the type of book? Integer ID, double price, and those are the string. But automatically who is doing the binding? Dispatcher servlet. So this is the benefits we are getting while doing a work with the Spring Boot MVC. Automatically binding will happen. So I hope guys you can do the practice on that, and you can come back to the next classes and we can discuss more about it. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, one more things. If from the form attribute name and the object class name is not same, then no need to read those data automatically. Binding will be happen with the dispatcher servlet. Okay, so make sure whatever the book object you have, like this field, the same field name you have to provide into the forms. ID, name, author, price. Okay, author, price. And in the same name you have to read here also ID, name, author, price. This is very important. If you do the mismatch, it will not work, or maybe you not able to read those field particular. Okay, thank you so much.